Dear listener, some stories don't leave us speechless because they're too violent, but because they're too real. Recently, I came across a heated debate on a youth forum. The topic, a woman who had been sexually assaulted. At first, she fought back, fiercely. But when she couldn't escape, she froze. Later, she reported the incident to the police. The man was arrested, but his defense was chilling. She didn't resist. She even looked like she enjoyed it. And then the comments poured in. Mostly from men. If she really didn't want it, why didn't she keep pushing him away? She didn't scream, maybe she was into it. Sounds like she just gave in and liked it. At first glance, these reactions may seem logical. But they all reveal one thing, a massive gap in understanding how the human body responds to trauma. In this story, we're not here to judge. We're here to explore a truth many don't want to hear, but everyone needs to understand. This is Soft Confessions, where the quietest voices hold the loudest truths. We're taught to believe that if someone is truly in danger, they'll scream, they'll fight, they'll run. And if they don't, we assume they must have wanted it. But the truth is far more complicated. Let me tell you about a real trial in Canada back in 2014. A young woman was assaulted. She didn't scream. She didn't fight. She froze. In court, the judge asked her, "Why didn't you yell? Why didn't you kick him? Why didn't you cross your legs tighter?" The man was not convicted. Why? Because the court believed there was no clear sign of non-consent. Maybe she enjoyed it. They even told the accused, "Be more careful when hanging out with women." This isn't justice. This is ignorance dressed up in legal robes. In a society where silence is seen as agreement, and where a woman has to act like a movie victim to be believed. It's not just the attacker who harms her, it's the system too. The next time someone says, "If she didn't fight, she must have been okay with it," remember, freezing is not consent. It's survival. There's a survival response very few people talk about, but it's incredibly common. It's called tonic immobility, or more simply, freezing. You've seen it in animals, like a rabbit going stiff when caught in a predator's jaws. It doesn't scream. It doesn't fight. It freezes. Humans do it too. When we're threatened, we tend to react in one of three ways: fight, flight, or freeze. If you believe you have a chance to fight, you fight. If you think you can run, you run. But if neither seems possible, your brain chooses the third option. In 2005, a study published in the Archives of Sexual Behavior found 88% of women who were sexually assaulted experienced temporary paralysis during the attack. Their arms wouldn't move, their voice wouldn't come out, their minds completely disconnected. This isn't weakness, this isn't passivity. This is your nervous system making a decision, without your permission, to survive. Your body says, "Stay still. Maybe he'll stop, maybe you'll survive." But tragically, this moment of stillness is what society uses against her. Not understanding that silence is not surrender. Here's a difficult truth. Sometimes a woman's body reacts during assault, even when her mind is screaming, "No." She may produce lubrication. She may even experience involuntary muscle contractions. And people see this and say, "See, she wanted it." But they're wrong. The sexual nervous system doesn't ask for consent. It reacts to stimulation, even under terror. A study in the Journal of Clinical Forensic Medicine found that vaginal lubrication can occur during rape. It's a physical reflex, not a sign of desire. In fact, this lubrication is the body's attempt to minimize injury, not increase pleasure. Some women even describe feeling dizzy, sleepy, or like they're floating outside their body. That's dissociation, a psychological defense. It's the brain's way of saying, "I can't escape physically, so I'll escape mentally." All of these reactions are natural responses to trauma. They are not proof of consent, but society rarely teaches us this. So when survivors try to speak, they're met with suspicion. Their biology is used against them. And the world says, if your body reacted, then it must have liked it. But the truth is, her body wasn't saying yes. It was saying, please, let me survive this. Some courtrooms don't deliver justice. They deliver judgment based on misunderstanding. Remember that Canadian trial? The victim didn't scream, didn't fight. The judge believed that meant she was willing. The attacker walked free. The woman walked away, disbelieved, dishonored, and re-traumatized. Another case in the US involved a woman who had been drugged. She was unconscious. The man claimed she never said no, and that was enough for a lenient sentence. Just 6 months probation. Imagine hearing that verdict after living your worst nightmare. The world says, if there are no bruises, no broken bones, was it really assault? But not all wounds bleed. Not all trauma is visible. We expect survivors to perform their pain, to cry at the right time, to show the right amount of fear, to behave like a perfect victim. And when they don't, we doubt them. The system often fails not because it lacks evidence, but because it lacks empathy. Because it still believes that real victims must scream. But real trauma? It doesn't always sound like screaming. Sometimes it sounds like silence. The trauma doesn't end when the court case does. For many survivors, that's when the pain begins. The nightmares, the fear of being alone or being touched, the shame that doesn't belong to them, but sticks anyway. They weren't just hurt by the assault. They were hurt by the questions that came after. Why didn't you scream? Why did you wait so long to report it? Are you sure it wasn't just regret? These questions don't seek truth, they seek to blame. Survivors start questioning themselves. Did I do something wrong? Was it my fault? Did I deserve this? So, they stay silent. Bury it deep. Try to live normally, while carrying invisible wounds. According to RAIN, only 1 in 3 sexual assaults are reported. And of those reported, most do not lead to conviction. Why? Because survivors don't believe they'll be believed. They fear being shamed, being picked apart, being forced to relive it in front of people who don't understand. The most painful part of trauma isn't always the violence. It's telling your truth and having no one believe you. If someone ever confides in you, don't ask what they were wearing. Don't ask why they stayed quiet. Just say one thing: I believe you. Some stories don't haunt us because they're too graphic. They haunt us because they're too familiar, too real. And when we stop judging and start listening, we realize this was never about guilt or innocence. It's about understanding a truth we were never taught. You don't have to be a survivor to stand with survivors. You might be a man, someone who's never felt their body freeze from fear. But you can still choose to listen, not doubt. You might be a woman who has lived through moments she never speaks of. Let this remind you. Your silence was not consent. Your fear was never weakness. This isn't a war between genders. It's a call for awareness, for empathy, for change. The next time someone tells you their story, don't ask, why didn't you fight? Ask, how can I help you heal? Don't say, it must not have been that bad. Say, thank you for trusting me with your truth. We live in a world where survivors are told to scream louder to be believed. But what they really need is someone who can hear, even when they whisper. This is Soft Confessions, where the quietest voices echo the loudest truths. Until next time, whisper carefully.